professor at University of Zagreb, Faculty of Law, Department of Social Work. So yes, this is my topic. In last few years, I'm doing a lot of professional activities about virtual environment in general, and we can maybe it's best to say that we can divide it in two different topics. One is about online risks and how social work can approach to online risks to various population, and the other one is about digital competencies and how can we use online environment in our everyday practice. This is also my first time at Zoom, and I love it. We tested half an hour ago, and I think it's really user-friendly, and I hope that this webinar, but also this tool will be useful for you, that you can use it in some other activities also. Now I have one activity for you, because on this webinar I will show you some of the digital tools. So one of the digital tools that I mainly use with the students or with the children and youth or with the experts is Menti. I don't know, did you ever have opportunity to test it? But now we have one small question and you can test it. And now I want you to go to www.menti.com and use this code, and then you have one question to answer. So now I have to share another screen, so I will leave this presentation and share the Menti screen. I hope it's visible. And please answer the questions about your expectations from this webinar. So I give you a few minutes. You can do it from your browser, from your computer, or from the mobile phone. And it's always nice when you work with child and youth and you tell them, okay, please bring your mobile smartphones on the table, because we're going to use it in the classes. They are really, really excited about it, and they are motivated. They want to know how you're going to use it. And it's totally different message that they usually get from the lecturer or from the teacher or from because usually it's don't use your cell phones while we are working, and when you use it for a class, it's really, really good motivation for them. Okay, so as you see, Menti is a quite nice way to present and to include all the attendees. This is the first time that I trying to use it on the webinars, and I think it's working. It's great because no matter how big is the audience, you can get all their answers in really nicely visual way. There's a lot of different slides. Okay, just a few of you. Okay, using Facebook with clients, you want to be informative, something about the ethics and to be important, some of the experiences and so on. I hope that all of your expectation will be met after this webinar. But I need to let you know that ethics is such an important field, and such a big, so much different information we have about in this field. So I think few days of training on ethics in a virtual environment would be good to get some skills and get some knowledge of how to use it really in the practice. This will be more on information level. After we finish, for me, it's okay that I share with you my presentation with links and some other materials that you can use, and you can try to find something that is really interesting and useful for you in your practice. Now I need to share the other screen again. So this is the only question that I have for you in Menti, but usually you can have more questions, different type of questions. You can have like the quizzes or some other type of questions. And it's great because everything that your audience writes down, it stays in this presentation. So when you come home, you can check the answers, you can analyze it if you want, you can maybe implement it in some other presentations and so on. So everything what your audience write down, it stays in the Menti presentation. Okay, let's go back to the So main goals of this webinar is to inform and encourage reflection on the ethics of working with clients, but also as every professional activity, this webinar could and should enhance a bit of your digital competencies. I saw at the beginning that most of you have some experience with the webinars, and that's great, but also there are some other tools that you can use and you can implement in your everyday practice. How to use digital tools in your professional role, that's also a big topic, and also maybe for one or a few seminars, and maybe sometimes we can share that topic with you also. Today it will be more about some challenges and about how we can use ethics in our everyday work with clients and service users. So please, Vesna, all one. Okay, please, if you can just answer the question. Now, I wonder, do you use social network accounts? Do you have one social network, for example, Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn or more, YouTube or more? Do you participate in some groups at the social network? Do you use instant messages? And have you been on some education or training so far about using the virtual environment for professional purposes? Okay, only 2 questions. Okay. Waiting for some other answers as well. Okay, that's it. So here we only have three answers, so I'm not sure how it's going to represent you as an audience, because now we have, I think, 14 people in the webinar room. But as you can see, everybody uses at least 1 or 2 or more social networks. You are in some group in social networks. All of you use WhatsApp, Viber, and some other instant messaging. But only one person said that have a training or education about using the virtual environment for professional purposes. And this is like the classic answer that I get when I ask the experts these questions. So definitely we can say that we use virtual environment every day in our private life. Probably we use some of it in our professional life also, but we didn't get any education about it, or we get just some educations about it. So it's really important to educate experts about how to use virtual environment in their everyday practice. Okay, let's move on. Sorry, something not working. Okay, so just a bit about conceptualization of this area. If you ask me, and I'm somebody who is really in deep in internet use and virtual and modern technology use, I don't think it's good or bad. I think technology is a tool, and the way we use it can be good or bad. Also, I think that now in this actual time, we are experiencing some paradigm shift. So yes, we use technology different that we use it years ago, but we always use the technology that we have. So, for example, and for me, the long phone calls with my friends while I was in some adolescent days were normal. For me, going online was a different than today. So For example, we were playing in the park or we were playing in the neighborhood, and I wanted to play some game on the internet. So I say bye-bye to my friends, go to my home, open the computer, and put the cable of dial-up cable in the computer, wait to dial-up to upload, and then do some activities without any people around. Today, virtual self is real a part of our everyday life. Virtual environment is hot and popular place. It's cool place. It's place to be. So as children and adolescents sometimes hang out in parks or hang out in neighborhoods or hang out in shopping malls. Today, they hang out in virtual environments. It's really, really important that children and youth are mainly say that internet and mobile phones and computers are really important part of their subjective or well-being in general. So they say, if you want me to say that I'm satisfied with my life, you have to give me good internet connection, you have to give me a good mobile phone and so on. And I do a lot of qualitative research with kids. And when I ask them why is that the most important thing for you, or at least the really important thing for you, they say, if I'm hungry or if I don't have anything to eat at home and so on, nobody will see it. So somehow I can hide it, or maybe I can eat something at home and not buy it in school and so on. But after the school, if I'm not on the social networks, I won't get invitation for the birthdays. My friends will kidding with me in school the day after and so on. So they think if they cannot access to internet, they will be excluded, and that's something that's happening right now. So let's now please poll 2. Okay, in your work with your clients or service users, most often you use the virtual environment for what? Is that an email communication, maybe some e-counseling, posts on social networks, maybe some complex intervention, or something else? Only 2 answers. Hurry up, you have limited time to answer. Okay, just click what you use the most. Okay. 5 answers till now. Email communication is something that you mostly use. Post on social networks. Okay. Okay, thank you. Maybe that's enough. So yes, effective and ethical visual communication is a must. Using a computer, social media, internet, online chat, instant messaging, and email, we can use in professional practice to inform the public, to provide a different and more accessible services, and to communicate with clients or service users through modern technology. Information technology has been increasingly used in almost all areas of psychosocial work. So we use it. We use it more and more, and we have to learn how to use it more efficiently and ethically. But just for the beginning, I want to give you a bit of a bit of insight. How can we use technology in helping interventions? It can be non-prevention activities through social networks, some mobile application, online feeds, and so on. Also, I'm sorry, can you hear me? Because it says that my internet connection is unstable. Hopefully everything is all right. Okay. Just a second to get back. Okay. And individual interventions, email that you use in your professional practice, online counseling, video counseling, some cyber therapy, maybe family mediation for the people who don't live in the same town or in the same country. Then maybe the technology can help to maintain secure contact between parents and children. For example, if parents are in jail or they are not able to be with the kids and so on, if children are in childcare or so on. Group intervention, online support groups are really, really hot and actual. For example, Australia is doing a lot of in this area because, you know, they have a lot of geographic problems with people who are living far away from the city centers and so on. So they use the virtual environment a lot in their professional psychosocial interventions and services, some specific interventions, and the direct practice with users. For example, video feed technique. It's totally normal in some Western countries, and I'm not sure how much we use it here in Croatia. I don't think a lot. We don't have any systematic education on how to use video feed technique and so on, and it's really, really useful if you use it, for example, with the families, with parents, and so on. So some of the types of helping practice in virtual environment I already mentioned, like e-counseling. I know that Hrabri Telefon or NGO in Croatia is doing a lot with e-counseling, really, really good things about with children and youth. Then cyber therapy, it's a therapy through cyberspace, and it's getting more and more in the practice, and definitely you need some additional education about it. Social network as a professional tool, I would say that our experts use this the most for prevention activities, for some public campaigns, promotion of the project and activities, promotion of organization, and so on. Some of you even find out for this webinar from the Facebook and from some social networks. Email services, I think it's great when you need to, for example, to share some information with clients, maybe to agree about the time when you're going to meet, or you maybe forward some useful link that you think that it can be helpful for the client, and so on. Virtual reality is doing a lot of good things with phobias. For example, fear of flying, fear of heights, fear of spiders, and so on, but also treatment of some specific condition with children, with alcoholism, with eating disorder, and so on. And internet games for therapy purposes. So yes, gaming disorder can and is a problem with problematic internet use, but also internet games can be great and useful for treatment of some specific condition. And experts are really developing some new and interesting tools to use in psychosocial practice in general. For all these types of helping practice, you need additional education. It's not maybe for social networks, maybe not for social network. It's good to have some knowledge about how a professional campaign through social network can be better, can be useful, can reach to the public that you want to have information, and so on. So advantages of helping intervention in virtual environment: it's increased availability of professional help, even outside working hours, in the comfort of your own home, and reduces costs, and so on. And for me, it's strange when you have, for example, some e-counseling in working hours. For me, I think, in my opinion, that would be good to organize to have it from 0 to 24. I think it's doable today. For example, you can have 3 or 4 shifts, and people can work from their home, and so on. Then wider range of services, definitely you're providing a different intervention for different group of users. And here you have possibility to combine face-to-face approach and then a bit of virtual environment tools and so on, and available. I'm sorry. Sustainability and availability to specific age group of users. For example, for young people, if you know that young people use smartphones every day, use virtual environment every day, they're gonna be there on virtual environment, then maybe this is a tool that it's good for them that they can use at least in some of the interventions and some of the services. There are few challenges in professional role in virtual environment. If you think about psychosocial work, everything is multi. You need to be multi-theoretical approach. You need to have multi-method approach, multicultural approach, multi-perspective approach, maybe multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary approach, and plus multiple tools that we can use in virtual environment. So it is an additional challenge to the expert. Of course, that means that in the beginning, you will put some more effort in setting all up and to take the tools or to learn the tools that you want to use and so on. But after some time, it just gets automatic, and after some time you are in good information resources. You know what sites you're gonna track and what links you can use and what tools you love to use with what kind of audience and so on. Why do we need ethics? Because it's a digital jungle out there. There is a lot of online risks. Some of them are really important also for the professional practice that you use. There are different levels of digital competencies of experts and clients. And digital competencies is one big new thing that European Union is trying to promote. There is a digital competence framework on EU level, and now when you filling up your Europass curriculum vitae, you have to put down also some self estimation of your digital competences at the same level as you sometimes before you put how good you're in certain language. Now you have to self-assess your digital competencies. Also, there is a lot of digital tools, and sometimes it's really hard how to choose the best. Also, you need some time to choose the best. You need some time to see what's going on. And even me, that I'm really into this topic and into this field, it's hard to track what is new, and it's changing every day. So it's okay if you use just some, and it's okay if you're gonna choose only a few and you're good with it and you love the output from that few tools that you're going to use, and just implement that in your practice. Professor Reimer really he's a really big expert on ethics. It's American and a social worker, and he did a lot of work on the ethics in the virtual environment. He's my dear colleague, and he's really helpful when you need some information about technology use in social work. But most of the things that he said for the social work is really useful for all the psychosocial practice. So most of us, our social workers or other experts, completed their formal education before the creation of Google and Facebook, or before we implemented in our formal education. For example, we have social work in a virtual environment for the last 3 years. It's an elective course, and just a part of the students can approach and can take the course and learn something about the virtual environment and how to use it. So it's still not systematically, we still don't have a systematic approach to how to implement and how to use and how to enhance digital competencies in our everyday professional practice. But don't panic. There is a way how to survive in digital jungle. First of all, I think that we should transfer from the computer user to the computer administrator. Let me try to explain. My father, he is an architect, and he uses computer every day for 12 hours. Every day for 12 hours he is on his computer. But if something happened with computer, he cannot do it but with himself, by himself. For example, if some driver is not working, or he needs some new software and so on, he needs to call somebody, to call IT service to help him with to reset the computer and to upgrade the computer and so on. So for some topics and for some elements, we should transfer from the computer user to the computer administrator. For example, how to use digital tools, how to use webinar rooms and so on. Adherence to ethical standard is something that we're gonna talk about more today. Digital competences is something that I already mentioned. Knowledge and use of digital tools also, and media education and media literacy from the early ages. So in social work, we have a few really important documents about ethics and standards. It's mostly from the United States, and some of the standards are a bit specific for their clinical practice, but most of them are really useful for everybody. So after you got my presentation, you have links and you can look in detail what is interesting for you and how you can include it in your everyday practice. And my next slides would be about these documents and what they say about how we use some of the standards in our everyday practice. Poll 3, Vesna, please. I can check for the chat. Is there something interesting? Okay, what do you think? Is it okay to Google client service users information? Okay, no. Come on, more. No, somebody thinks yes, and it's okay because a lot of people said will say yes, and a lot of people do it. Maybe they don't admit, but and okay, but most of you think that that you should accept client service users, that you shouldn't accept clients or service users as friends on the social networks. Okay, thank you. So, first of all, I think selfie culture and the workplace is the big challenge. What to publish and when? For example, on the beginning of this webinar, when Vesna had an introduction, her colleague behind her back was typing something on her computer. After we get the video of this presentation, there are tools that can really zoom in really good. And I hope that her colleague didn't have any information about clients or about service user on her computer. And that's something that we take for granted, but it happens. It happens that maybe sometimes, for example, if I work from home and I want to share how I work from home because it's lousy weather and I didn't go on my office, and I share a selfie of me and computer, I have to be really sure that nothing on my computer is about the clients, about their identity, or any private information that I don't want everybody to see. Client service user has a Facebook friends or Instagram followers. As you say no, and most of the experts will say no, don't accept them, at least before you can think about your privacy. You also have your private time, your private activities and so on, and not all the clients or the service user need to know where are you, what are you doing, and so on. to Google or not to Google? Well, they say it's kind of surveillance. Can you imagine before the Google and before the Facebook that you went to some places to look for your clients and for your service user, maybe? Can you imagine to maybe to I'm sorry. Can you imagine to look at their curtains in their home and so on? Sorry. Okay, let's try. I think no. I think you wouldn't go to the, for example, to the home of your clients and look what they do and when they go out and when they come back home and so on. But there is one situation when it's okay to use the social networks or Google about information about your client. Let me see what's new on that. Okay. So some of these ethical standards will be the same. Some of them are redefined and some of them are really new. Adaptation and redefinition of ethical standard is a must. For example, first of all, we need some more competence. We need some more digital skills about how to use a virtual environment. And it's responsibility of all of us, of experts, to monitor the development of modern technology, to educate and to introduce them to practice. But not the responsibility is not just ours. It's also a responsibility of the sectors and of the system to enable us, to enable experts to implement that new skills that they have. For example, you can have a great training, 3-day training, skill building about digital competencies, about how to use virtual environment, how to develop some new practices and so on. And then you go back to your workplace and you have slow internet connection, Wi-Fi for your users to use when they come for group work or so on, lousy computers. So you don't have any funding for example, for buy some lessons on some good tools and so on. So sometimes, even if you are motivated as you are right now because you're attending this webinar, to upgrade your skills and your digital competences, if your workplace or the system or the sector where you work is not providing you a good place or good framework to use it, it's not going to work. Okay, I have 10 more minutes and then questions, so I try to go a bit further. So availability of the services. Yes, of course, the services that we're going to implement and provide should be available to different clients or to different groups. And when we are thinking about internet users, on EU level, it's about 89% of families or the people that they have internet use. In Croatia, around 20% of families don't have any internet access. So in Croatia, internet is regionally available and it depends about socioeconomic status of a family. So sometimes the service users that you're going to reach cannot join your online activities because they don't have internet access or they don't have any computer in their home and so on. So usually when I work with kids in a group setting, maybe in a workshop or maybe in a class or in children's home and so on, I always have a few tablets on my side, and I ask question that is not stigmatizing. So I ask, if somebody don't have their computer right now, or their mobile phone right now, maybe you forgot it at home or something like that, you can use mine. So sometimes I just want to be sure that all of my kids, or all the kids in the group will be available to listen, or to be, or to use the activity and use the virtual environment that I prepare for them. Verification of client identity. That's really, it's not easy in the online setting. Of course, informed consent is really, really important, and we always start our work with some contract, or with some arrangement, with their consent to start to work with us, and we know who is in front of us. In the virtual environment, it's not always like that. It's not always easy to identify who is at the other side and to verify a client's identity. Now the digital tools moves and developed that you have various options how to verify the client identity. One of them is through simple softwares and through simple providers. You can send and contact your client and ask them, give them some code, and ask them to when they're gonna meet you online, to put that code on. So somehow it's good to contact them prior to the online intervention that you have, and be sure that that you know who is on the other side of the screen. Privacy and confidentiality. Okay, here is something about Google search and the question that you already answered. So yes, of course, conducting a Google search is sometimes it depends, but if it's just curiosity and you want to know more about your client, then it's not good, or at least it's good if you ask the permission to do it. So sometimes I tell, is it okay for you that I look what Google says about you, or something like that? And if people, if your client and service user say yes, then it's okay. But I always say to them, if something happened and I'm not sure if is your are you in danger, or somebody else is in danger, I will try to find information online also. For example, if you have some online counseling and you have it for a few different meetings, and you know that it's an adolescent who is suicidal, and they don't show up on the last meeting, and you try to contact them through some other channels, maybe through the text message, or you call them and so on, they don't respond, then it's okay to check, is there any information on the social network and so on that can help you to find out is everything okay with the client. So sometimes, but really in extreme situation, like like when you're doing a class, when you're working on a classic counseling and so on, you're gonna say to the client, if something really extreme happened, if I find out that, for example, if you do with a parent, that you get violent to your kid and so on, my professional duty is to do something about it. Also this, if you put it on the good framework and you said, okay, I won't Google the information about you, but there are some exceptions that maybe I can use also information about you in social network in Google, then it's okay. Boundaries, that you also talk about. social networking. Do we accept friends on social networks or no? What about current clients? What about former clients? What if you have some Facebook or some other social network friend who will who becomes a client one day? So that's everything, something that we have to have in our mind. Also, if I'm gonna give you my online contact, or if you have some channel to contact me through the online environment, I don't want you to expect, or the client or the service user to expect that he can contact me or she can contact me anytime, day or night. So we need some rules about how we're going to use a virtual environment, and what rules are important for me and are important for the client or the service user. In this day, development of social media policy on institutional or private practice level is really, really helpful for the client and for the experts. And you can put various areas or various topics in it. So, for example, it can be about friending on social networks, about electronic interactions, about Google or not Google, and so on. And it's good to explain in that social media policy that you're going to develop that you're not ready to accept friends from the social networks because, and then a few sentences why you don't want to have your clients or service users on the social networks. Then how you're going to document your communication. What about privacy issues? What about Googling or informations about your client and about your service user and so on? So it's okay to put it in one document and to share it with your client and service users in the beginning of your work. Documentation, also really, really important topic. Sometimes we forgot to document the things that we do online, and proper documentation is really, really important. But also we need to think about who has access to the documents, what and how to document. Is it an email, just a text message, some cyber therapy communication? Will we destruct that information after some time? How long are we gonna keep it on our computers and so on? Is it a public computer? Is it a workplace computer? For example, there are more than 300 people working on my faculty, and not just that, but the faculty computer is linked to university network. So we have to think about the privacy, and we have to think about is it secure to download the information about the client and to save them on our desktop? Is it the computer that only me uses, or somebody of my colleagues going to use tomorrow, and so on? And this can also be and should be included in social media policy. For me, I would feel more secure if this is the topic that I talk about with the expert, or that we arrange before we start to do some helping interventions in the online environment. A lot of challenges, of course: loss of human factor, lack of nonverbal communication, definitely. So the other course that I teaching my students is about interpersonal communication, and I'm the core social worker. I really love the possibilities of the virtual environment, but you're never gonna hear that I'm going to say that it's the only thing that we need in social work. No, face-to-face contact is really, really important. It's great for the development of the relationship and so on. But I think it can be a really good upgrade to the services that you already use. Misunderstandings. You know that sometimes you just text somebody and they don't understand your messages, or they understand it not the way you wanted them to get it. So lack of nonverbal communication sometimes can lead to misunderstanding. Compromise privacy and confidentiality, we already talked about it. Boundary issues about how your clients and your service users are gonna expect how you're gonna use the social media and use the online environment in your relationship. Difficulty addressing long-term and complex problems, delayed response. So in some services and some intervention, they don't get a momentary response. They have to wait for your response. Sometimes we're feeling rushed to respond to emails, text. If I get the email and I know that maybe it's a situation with my client and I wanted to check it even if it's Saturday, and even if I said that I'm not going to be on my email on the weekend. What with emergencies? What if they show up in the weekend? Am I ready to take the responsibility to be, online? Identity fraud or technological failure. For example, sometimes it happens that you are in the middle of really important communication on the online environment and internet shutdowns, or your computer is not working, and then you have to reload the data, look what is going on, and try to establish connection again. And in that really, really sensitive communication, that can be a really big problem. I think that the most significant is the expert assessment of the suitability of online intervention for each individual user, not just the whole intervention, maybe just a part of it. What is next? Evidence-based. We need more researchers about it. We need good IT and good informatization on national and international level. A lot of challenges about it. We need to adopt new skills. We need to change to legislation. And of course, develop a model for effective practice in virtual environment. Okay, we have 10 more minutes, so I think now is the time for questions.
Thank you, Lucija, for this very interesting webinar. We have one question, and I think that you started to talk about it now in the end. It's a question: what if a client sent an email about his problems during the non-working hours, for example, weekends? Because I suppose sometimes this information about the situation of a client can be really upsetting. So maybe to answer, what would you say? Is it an idea of a protocol or something like that, or individual responsibility? What would you say?
Yes, I think it's great to put it down in your social media plan, and to put it down in the document, and to talk about it with your client or the service user on the first meeting that you have. And I always think about how can we provide some other links, some other contacts, and some other institutions that gonna be available on the weekend. Yeah. So you cannot be there for anybody 0 to 24. I cannot be there for my kid even from 0 to 24. But just to provide them with the good and useful information. Okay, if something happened in my non-working hours, these are the institutions, or these are the organizations or the contacts that can help, and please contact them.
Yeah, so you are saying about that you should not just send information. Yeah, I heard you. I see your concern. These are the good referrals where you can find some help and support during our non-working hours, which are not non-working hours. For example, for some counseling or some kind of hospital or police or something like that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it could be like individual protocol, because we don't have it, as you said. For now, for Croatia, we don't have it in the area of the whole country, some kind of protocol what to do in this situation.
I don't even think that it's some of the social media plan or the protocol is good to have on institutional level, because you will have some specific with the clients that you work with. So yes, maybe we need some national protocols about and we have them. Some of them we have about the violence, about and so on. But what you do in your organization with the virtual environment and with the clients is the best that you develop for your specific practice that you're going to share.
Yes.
With the online environment.
Yes.
Any other question or the feedback?
Yeah, I will share the poll for now, but you said if anybody has a question, there is a chat box where you can write the question, and Lucia and I will read it. But if there is no question, I believe, Lucia, you shared your email. I think if anybody has a question, that they can send you individual email after this webinar, right? I believe they can use it, definitely.
Yes, of course.
Yes, and I think it will be also very important information. This recording will be uploaded to YouTube, so the people will be able to see this presentation, and really, if they will have any kind of question, they will be able to contact you about it. I think it's really important. Really important webinar because especially in social welfare area, as I remember when talking with few social workers, it was really lively debate if it's okay to share email, if it's okay to answer to the clients during your weekend. So there was an idea, yes, I'm here for my clients. I'm very happy to answer their concerns during my non-working hours, because this is not a job, this is a call for me. But there are other professionals who say, no, this is my free time. I want to enjoy my free time without interrupting with professional problems. So I think that a lot of people are just like swimming in the ocean of modern technologies and working with it without really stopping and asking themselves if this is okay for me or not, and what about the institution where we work of. Maybe there should be some kind of rules or debates in, I don't know, some kind of professional meetings and stuff like that.
Yes, and for example, most of us, we don't have business smartphones and cell phones, so I use the same number and the same phone for my private contacts and for some of my professional contacts and so on. And if you have like the separate number, then you can just put some audio on or some message of call. Sorry, my working hours are off, but you can contact that colleague and so on. So sometimes, yes, there is a mix between private and professional practice in the virtual environment. For example, I always think if I share a picture of on my private social network from my professional environment, from my office and so on, is it okay? What I'm sharing right now? And I think before you share, that's a really, really important thing to do. Any other questions? I hope that you enjoyed the rest of you.
Yes, I will share.
Comment or I always like to get some feedback, and I would like if you have some.
We will now we launch the polling evaluation poll. So we are of course now in the end. And I want just to thank Lucija to you for taking your time to share information. We are very happy here in Croatia that we finally have this kind of college subject working with virtual community. I think it's a great value, especially today in 21st century. So thank you very much for sharing your time for this. And this webinar, as I said, will be recorded and shared on the ChildHub. Also, I wanted to say, like always, there is possibility to ask for the certificate of attendance in this webinar. I will share an email where you can find it.
It would be really, really good to have maybe some intensive trainings. 45 minutes is just information.
Yes.
You cannot share a lot. It's such a big field that we need some more intensive training, skills building, more about reflection about the cases that we have, about the situations that we are doubtful about. So I'm definitely cheering and lobbying for the more activities, more comprehensive activities on this topic.
Yeah, I think that it's what you said. I think it's a great value also to say that we are planning like a small round, roundtable in December, 12th of December, around the subject of modern technologies in social welfare system, where Lucija also will be involved, but the other very important institutions are called like a social welfare chamber, NGO social workers, and Ministry of the Family to come and share the plans and share the importance of debate of using modern technologies and ethics in not just social welfare system like psychologists, and also every professional that works with families, children, etc. So you will have the information through the ChildHub, and we were really happy if you could join us there live.
Can we have an online access to it also?
Yeah, we will see.
Okay. That is an upgrade of our real activities. So maybe
yes.
best if you can organize online access to the people who cannot join. That
would be really great. Yeah, I have to check that. Maybe we can really discuss about it one-to-one, and you can help me with it.
Okay, no problem. So okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time and patience, and please don't hesitate to contact me if you need any further information about this topic. I know this is just a few 45 minutes is not enough, but I hope that you at least have some information on how you can use the virtual environment better, or how you can upgrade your skills and your professional role in the virtual environment.
Great. Thank you, Lucija. Goodbye, everybody, and have a nice rest of the day. Bye.